Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Honkai Star Rail, and with Honkai Star Rail we're going to be talking about one of the major aspects of it, which is the combat system. Unlike the gacha system, which we have covered in a video already, which can be found in the corner or somewhere if you haven't already watched it, it's really good to know what to expect from the gacha system since it's such a big part of the game. The combat system is very different from the other games that MiHoYo has made or HoYoverse has made, specifically like Genshin Impact. There's very different systems that you can expect between Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. But before we get into the video, make sure to leave a sub and a like on the channel if you are enjoying the Honkai Star Rail content. It'd mean a lot to me, and I'm having so much fun covering the game, so it'd be nice to see your support. But other than that, let's get straight into the video. With Genshin Impact's combat, you basically can run around the overworld, see an enemy, beat them up, and that's pretty much it. It's a seamless experience. While with Honkai Star Rail, there's two different areas for the combat. There's one in the overworld and one when you're actually in battle. The overworld isn't really something that is going to be very advanced or anything crazy when it comes to starting the fight, because that's where you're going to start the fight and then it will pull you into the fight. But there's a couple things to look around in the overworld that you can keep track of to help you get an advantage in the fight, or to work on any advantage you could possibly get. There are going to be containers around the world that either are green, purple, I think there's some other color as well, and those will give you your skill points or your health that you need. You can get health back from those green containers, or you can get skill points from your purple ones. The skill points are going to add an extra advantage to your fight, or have you hit the enemy for a little bit harder, or give you various effects before the fight starts. That way you have the upper hand when the fight actually starts. There are a couple things to look at when you look at these enemies from afar, because if I get too close, they'll detect me with this little question mark, seeing that I'm a little too close and that they're going to see me and try to chase me, which I'm going to try to avoid. But once you get close enough, you're able to see the golden line between these enemies, the level or the name of the enemy, and then the weaknesses of the enemy. The level, of course, is going to correspond with whatever difficulty is going to be. Of course, is based on your character level. Other than that, the name of it is there just to know, and then the weakness of the shields, because that is the big part of the game. The shields that are in this game, those bar elements that you see right there are going to be the elements that you're going to use to break the shield that are on this enemy. And we're going to see things about the shield and all the other stuff that is regarding with the shields once we get into the actual gameplay. But other than the shields and the name of the enemy and all of that, we have that golden line that you saw earlier. Once you see this golden line that appears between them, this means that once you actually fight the enemy that they're connected to, the next one's going to start immediately. So that means both of them will disappear from the map if you defeat them, or if you do not have the line connecting them that they usually have if they're close enough together. Beating one of them will put you out of the fight, put you back in the overworld, and the other one will still be there. So you can choose accordingly if you want to fight both of them at the same time, run after another, or you can choose to fight them separately and heal or recoup your resources. That way you can fight the next one depending on the difficulty of the enemies. This is going to matter a lot. There can be two different situations that come from fighting these enemies. One is you attacking them first, and the other is them attacking you. If you attack them first, the character that you're attacking with is going to be the first turn that's going to happen, and then you are going to do damage to them before the fight even starts. If they attack you, they will be able to attack you before the fight starts, and then the battle will continue. So looking at this, we're going to see that they have an ice shield, and we're going to hit them with the ice damage type, and this is going to hit their shields and possibly break them, which it did right there. Once you get into the battle, as you can see, we've already cracked his shield with the attack that we did at the overworld. There are a couple things to look forward to when it comes to what to expect from the battle. It is turn-based, that is the style of Honkai Star Rail, and there are a couple things you need to keep track of. First is the normal attack and the skill. The normal attack is going to be your Q or whatever keybind you set it to, and this will just be a normal elemental attack that doesn't hit that hard, but it gets the job done. And then the skill is going to vary between characters. Not all of them are DPS, some of them are support, utility, healing, all that type of stuff, and they all consume a skill point. And the skill bar is over here at the bottom right that you can see that says 3 and the stars on it. Every time you do a normal attack or a regular attack, it's going to add 1 star, as you can see it flashing in blue and giving me a indicator that it will gain a star after you use it. If you use a skill, it will subtract the star, and that will take 1 star off your bar. Once your bar reaches 0 stars, the current character that you have playable at the moment will not be able to skill until there's a normal attack that is done from another character, or you can use a normal attack and then your next character can use a skill. So other than that, those are the two on the side, and the skill bar, that's basically all that works together in this side right here. And then we have the ults. Now the ults are going to be dependent on energy, which comes from you tanking, you taking damage, you doing healing, or you doing DPS. If you don't do any of these, you're not going to gain any of the charge. And one special thing as well, as you can see in the top left, we do have a speed bar or a turn gauge, however you want to say it. This is going to depend on a lot of different factors, depending on artifacts, depending on the speed of the character. This is going to be how many times you can move before your enemy moves. And a lot of buffs, a lot of consumables are going to affect this from a lot of different perspectives. Using an ult pushes you to the very top of the list. So as you can see, we're going to use Natasha's ult. And as you can see, Natasha is the third person in the field. And if we use her ult, it will boost her to being the first one. Now you cannot cancel your ult at this time being. I wonder if they're going to change this in the future. But right now, if you use your ult, you cannot change it. You cannot cancel it. So make sure if you're going to use your ult, you're going to want to use it and not to, waste it. Because like I said, you can't really cancel it. Other than the ult boosting you to the top of the list, you can still use your turn after your ult. So it's not like use your ult and that's the waste of your turn. Nope, you can just use your ult and you can still have your turn. Now we're just going to go ahead and start attacking these enemies. As you can see, I used the skill star, or not used the skill star, but I gained a skill star from using the normal attack. And now let's say I use March 7's skill, which is a shield. It's going to subtract one, as you can see from the red flashing indicator right here. And we're going to use it. And then we lose a star. If you keep on using it and you have 0 stars, you cannot skill for that character that you're currently on. Using these attacks, you're gonna have to make sure that these line up with the shields to do more damage. You don't necessarily have to match up elements to break the shield, but it does more damage if you do match it. So you are gonna want to build your team around the enemies that you're gonna fight. Usually they give you a notice beforehand what elements that you're gonna need to break these shields, and if you understand and know where what enemies that you're gonna fight, you know what teammates to bring for those shields. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of this so we can show you what happens if the enemy hits you first, because that's pretty much straightforward. There's not a lot else to talk about with this combat. It's fairly simple. It all really depends on the characters you use and the enemies you're fighting. But other than that, bare bones in the combat, all of it is pretty much the same. Now, if you let an enemy hit you, which of course is going to be a gauge showing that they see you. This dude doesn't want to see me. See, he sees me and he's going to attack me. If he attacks me first, he's going to get the turn first. And he's going to attack me first. So since the enemy attacked me, I was not able to get attack in prior. So I'm not able to break their shield earlier to make it a lot easier for myself. It's just going to either be in a standstill, or if the enemy has more speed than me, they will end up hitting me first. So other than that, that is pretty much it, the bulk of what the combat is in Honkai Star Rail. There are little intricate or nice things to know, is that you can look at the enemies, what they are, what moves they can do, and also if they're affected with any status, as you can see from the enemy status here. You can also look at your own team to see if they have any statuses as well, see what artifacts are already on them or weapons, and the skills that are on them as well. So if you ever forget any of these things when you're in combat and you want to make sure that you know what you're doing, you can always look at all this stuff in the combat screen. Other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to Honkai Star Rail's combat. It's not really that hard to understand, but it is really nice to see this different style of game because it's very fun. And it's such a nice game to play. So other than that, that's going to be pretty much it with Honkai Star Rail's combat. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all to the end. See y'all in the next one, and peace.